Welcome back to another edition of the Cricket8 Podcast. I'm one half of today's show, Machel St. Patrick Hewitt, and with me as ever is I call him the magician, I call him the wizard. What should I call him today? We'll call you Gandalf, I don't know. But it's Rob Barron. And Rob, we are here. We're here. The Champions Trophy has concluded. The best team has won. Yes, people, I said it. The best team has won. I'm sure you've caught pelters throughout this tournament. In fact, you must have caught more pelters than me, Rob, because I've seen some stuff on like some shorts and reels that you said where I'm like, Rob must be catching pelters. But I've been catching my fair few today. But I want to kind of start off by just saying both Rob and myself, I don't even know if Rob does, but I'm fairly certain he does, are saying the best team won. The best team was clear before the tournament started. The best team was clear during the tournament. And the best team has won at the end of the tournament. What more can we say about it, Rob, other than say that statement?
I cannot argue with any of that. Yes, I have taken loads of stick because I've correctly pointed out that the tournament was completely stacked towards India. However, there is no question that they're the best team. And the only tournament I can remember where a team has won so comprehensively was the 2003 World Cup when Australia absolutely smoked everybody. And it wasn't, and that's 11 games, I think it was. But this competition, so I'm always slightly obsessed with the odds of things, but this competition, India never looked like not winning any of the games at any point. Yeah. Now, they in terms of the odds, they were big favourites to win every game, but they never went second favourites to win any of the games at any point. The closest they got was when Travis Head was going. They dropped Head, didn't they? Shami dropped him second ball, I think. And they got going a bit, and they were kind of 50 for 1 early when Connolly had stunk the place out. And it was like a 50-50 game at that point because everyone thought that India were going to concede 280 and maybe more, which would have been a big chase. But that's the only time where the result has been in any question. And yesterday, I'm sure India fans are pleased, but it was an incredibly dull final. And to be fair, all India's games were dull because they're so good. And they just demolished, and in the conditions that they had, which wasn't fair, but the conditions that they had and the ability to pick 4 spinners, because yesterday you didn't want to bowl any pace, really. You didn't want to bowl any of it. And India can just go, well, we've got 4 guys that can bowl 10 overs if we want, and they're all really good. So all the very best. And we can give Shami the ball. Shami went for 8 and over yesterday, or nearly, more than 8 and over. Hardik went for 10 and over. But never mind, we've got 38 overs of spin to bowl at you. So you better cash in on the times when we're not bowling it. And New Zealand just don't have anywhere near that depth. You know, Santner didn't bowl as well as he did in the semi. But then you're like, what do we do? Do we make Phillips bowl 10, where we really don't want to do that? Ravindra got through 10. Bracewell got through. These are part-timers, Mash, aren't they? But the take-home from this extremely boring tournament that I've kind of forgotten already is that India were definitely the best team. That should not be missed. That should not be taken out of context, like our comments. India were by far and away the best team and deserved to win because they were by far and away the best team. The fact that the tournament was a fiasco is a nod to cricket's bigger problems, which have existed for a hell of a long time. I mean, Jared did that film, didn't he? Death of a Gentleman, where they pointed that out, that cricket had sold its soul and all these fat cats are getting fatter. But the bit I don't like from the India side of it, it's not the players, it's nothing to do with the players, it's some of the comments you hear in the media, was like they're basically saying, cry more. You would do it if you had all the money. And if it was rigged toward you, you wouldn't be moaning. Do you know what I mean? I hate that as an argument. It's like, but I did love the direct quote from Ravi Shastri at the toss. I'll stop talking in a sec, mate. He said, let me find it. The fact that you've played one game here is obviously a big help, is what he said to Santner at the toss. And I loved that from Ravi Shastri. That was no irony, just like a total mug off of everybody else. But yeah, what do you reckon? Like, I didn't enjoy the tournament, I must admit.
Well, West Indies weren't there, so I could kind of take. Well, one, it was. I didn't find the tournament interesting, but I was very glad West Indies weren't there to make me have any heart palpitations about the poor nature of our performances. So it was fine for me to kind of just watch it from a distance and be like, fundamentally, I don't care what happens and I don't care who wins. And that's why my kind of take on it, I always thought was a bit of a neutral take of just, well, you know, come on, guys, come on, we can see this for what it is, right? And I guess we have to go there. I guess we have to go there. I know what happens next. I know people are gonna send me emojis and they're gonna tell me I don't know what I'm talking about, and production's gonna clip it, and then people are gonna destroy me. But, I've got to say what I've got to say here. In the T20 World Cup in the Caribbean, India knew. Sorry, we should go back before then. In their home World Cup in 2023, which obviously they lost to Australia in the final, there was all that kind of rigmarole around pitch preparation and last minute changes and so on and so forth. All I'm saying, people, I'm not here to try and criticize India. I'm just presenting the facts as I know them, right? There was some rigmarole. If I'm wrong, Rob, please tell me I'm wrong if I've got any of these facts wrong. There was rigmarole around pitch preparation and last minute changes, etc. in 2023, and then obviously they lost the final after playing a brilliant tournament. They lost the final to Australia. 2024 in the Caribbean for the World Cup, India knew that they were playing the semi-final in Guyana. No other team knew where their semi-final was going to be, but India knew it was going to be in Spin Paradise in Guyana, right? Well ahead of time.
Yeah.
In this competition, due to legitimate geopolitical concerns, they've played all of their games in one venue, not moving anywhere, knowing exactly the type of team you need to pick for that particular venue, whilst everyone else has had to fly here, there, and everywhere in the general confines of a tournament. Again, none of that takes away from the fact that across those three tournaments, India are the best white ball team in the world. I don't think that takes away from that. But it does, for me, raise the question as to, if you are the best white ball team in the world. See, it's right. Production, bring up Crunk. Bring up Crunk's comment, because I don't think I've said anything wrong. Production, bring up Crunk. Crunk says, Machel, can you stop crying for it? See, I told you, Rob. I haven't even said anything. Crunk, I'm not actually even criticizing. I'm just presenting the facts. Crunk, I don't have any real particular strong opinion on it. I'm just presenting the facts as I know them. India are the best team in the world. They've shown that between 23, 24, 25. I don't think anyone's really disputing that. The question, Mr. Crunk, is that if you're the best team in the world, do you need any advantages? You surely don't, because
exactly
you're the best anyway. No one's questioning if India are the best. We all know India are the best. So why? So when they have the next competition is the T20 World Cup in India. So I'm reading the comments as I'm talking, where Crunk says, first you should praise the team, then present facts. You must have only just logged on, Crunk, because that's how I started the show. So we actually praised India first. But anyways, the point is, Rob, the next competition is that in India, the T20 World Cup.
Yeah.
All I'm asking for, and India are favourites because they're the best T20 team in the world. All I'm asking for by the time we get to the T20 World Cup in India is that let's not have this be. And to be fair to Rohit and Virat and all the players, Iyer and KL Rahul, they don't need all this. I'm not attacking the players. They don't need all this rigmarole. Let's not, for the T20 World Cup in India, let's not have any kind of distraction. Let's not have but this, but that. Let's just let the teams play, and let's not try and have any kind of asterisks from some put against the Indian
that's the
team
word, right?
name.
So that's the word. Nail on the head there is to summarize this competition. India won with an asterisk next to their name, and they didn't need one. But whatever they did, the powers that be, the board and everything, contrived to make sure that there definitely was. Any other team can legitimately say, well, India had it all their own way, and the deck was completely stacked towards India in terms of the travel other teams had to do. The fact that they could stay at one venue is a big plus anyway. to refuse to play in the host country. I'm not qualified to talk about geopolitics, so I won't. But it's a fact that they refused to play in the host country, so that gave them an advantage by that refusal, which doesn't feel fair to everybody else. They ended up playing. They got to know the pitch so well that they could go, actually, we're stacking our squad towards it. They swapped Jaiswal for Chakravarti, like for like. That's the change they made in their squad just before, because they were like, actually, we're going to play all our games here. We're going to want the fourth spinner, thanks. So it was stacked towards them, and it didn't need to be. So yes, there's an asterisk next to this win for India, but they didn't need one because they're the best team by miles anyway. And you look at it's not just the bowling has got ludicrous depth. When you can bowl 4 proper spinners, 10 overs each, you've got bloody Hardik wandering in at number 7 with a batsman behind him, for God's sake. It's absolutely mental. It's absolutely mental. The number 6 is KL Rahul, who could walk into the opening spot, the number 3 spot, the number 4 spot, pretty much any other team. Like, no dangers. And he's sat there at number 6, playing brilliant knocks of 40 odd every game. No one can get him out. Like, no spinner can challenge him even slightly. He's just taking the pressure off all those other guys, scoring a very straightforward runner ball in the middle overs. Not to mention 2 of the all-time greats that they've got in Kohli and Virat. And it's like, well, you've got to get 8 of them out if you're going to stop them from scoring loads of runs. And they've also got a better bowling attack than you, even without the best bowler in the world. So all the very best. Like, they're by far and away the best team. However, the people that run Indian cricket, the people that run cricket, and therefore run Indian cricket as well, stack the deck very heavily in favour of India as well. Now, like that or not, I'm not crying about that. I don't like it. I mean, I'm not saying it from an England fan's point of view. If you want me to tee off on England, everybody knows I'm more than happy to do that. I'm not saying that England would have had a chance if India didn't rig the deck. But the fact of the matter is, it wasn't on an even playing field, and that's what sport is meant to be. No other sport would allow these sort of shenanigans to happen, Mash, would they? No other sport allows this.
And that fundamentally is it. I wish I wasn't on the show today, because I already knew what was going to happen in the comments the minute I opened my mouth. I know this is on purpose. As soon as production said I had to do today's show, I was like, I'm getting stitched up here. But production's put up this comment because it's actually an important comment from Lone Quester. Long Quester says, how else could they have done it given that they couldn't travel to Pakistan? And I think that's a perfectly reasonable question to raise, Lone Quester. Here's my response to it. And everybody who's angry in the comments, I'm giving you a 10-second countdown to what I'm about to say, and then you can furiously start smashing up your phone or keyboard. The way they could have done this tournament, if India didn't want to travel to Pakistan, which you can say is legitimate, obviously, is not let India in the tournament. Simple. That's the answer. Not let India in the tournament and let Sri Lanka or West Indies replace them in the tournament. That's what should have happened. And I know lots of you are going to get angry. You're going to say this guy. Some of you are going to throw emojis. I know how it goes, but that's the reality of the situation. The minute India said we're not doing X, Y, Z, they have to come out the tournament.
So 2 questions there for you, Mash. 1, if Pakistan say we're not going to India, what does the ICC say to Pakistan? 2, if England, there's a World Cup in Saudi Arabia, for example, which they had one recently, Football World Cup, and England say we're not going due to some sort of political reasons. Saudi Arabia's politics isn't great, or it doesn't align with values of a lot of other countries, right? Mm-hmm. What if England say we're not going to play there? What do you think FIFA would resolve? What do you think their solution would be? And what do you think the ICC's resolution would be if Pakistan said we're not going to play in India next time?
Well, my theory is, okay, let's switch it round, right? And this isn't about defending Pakistan. By no means is that my intention here. But if Pakistan say, right, we're gonna play silly bollocks now, right? So India didn't want to come to Pakistan for the Champions Trophy, which we didn't agree with. So we're not going to go to the T20 World Cup. Let's just say, argument's sake, Pakistan say they're not going to the T20 World Cup next year. We'll just play the T20 World Cup without Pakistan. True or false? You think anyone's going to say Pakistan? You think anyone's going to say, okay, Pakistan, you don't want to travel to India for the World Cup? Don't worry, you can have all your games in Pakistan.
Yeah, we'll all play them in Lahore. or you can play on Rawalpindi, and then you can play every game on the exact same strip and do whatever you want to it between games. It can't happen, can it? It can't happen.
Now, this is again Long Quester. I think it's a good question for Long Quester. So let's follow my rationale through to its logical conclusion. So we say to India, right, you don't want to play in Pakistan because of geopolitical reasons. Fair enough, but the tournament must go on. Then we can't just kowtow to what you want to do and let you play in one venue in Dubai. So Long Quester says it's completely unrealistic that India should not play an ICC tournament. It shouldn't be that way, but it's unrealistic. Now I hear that. I totally hear that. But I do want to, I want a cricket economist to come on the show. We need to get a proper cricket economist to come on the show, because everyone always comes out with the same argument. All of the money in cricket comes from India. If you don't have India in there, it's not going to make money. But Rob, do you mean to tell me that if India didn't play a World Cup, or sorry, didn't play a competition, the cricket fans in India wouldn't watch the tournament? Like, don't get me wrong, if the tournament wouldn't earn as much money, but are you trying to tell me that there wouldn't? So what are we saying then, Rob? What was that competition? Which World Cup? Was it 2007 when India and Pakistan got knocked out early? Was it 2007?
Yeah, that
Do
sounds
you remember
right.
that one? Both of them got knocked out in the first round or something. So are we trying to say that whichever tournament that was, did people just suddenly stop watching because India and Pakistan were out of the tournament early doors? Like, I think we've got to get away from this notion. I think it's an unhealthy notion to have that if you don't kowtow to what BCCI or whoever it is, whoever you want to say has the levers on power wants, then you're not going to make money. Like, I think that's a lazy narrative.
Cricket is
It's
a joke,
lazy
and
narrative.
it's been a joke for ages. The problem is cricket gets a pass to do loads of stuff that wouldn't be allowed in any other sport anyway. They say, look, we know that India and Pakistan aren't going to play each other. Again, mental, during the normal cycle. So we're going to make damn sure they play against each other in every tournament, right? It was 2007, and the fallout from that was they had to make sure, basically for TV money, they had to make sure that India play Pakistan in every ICC event henceforth. Then they go, to help grow the game, what we'll do is we'll restrict the amount of countries that are allowed to play in the World Cup. Again, the only sport that thinks that growing the game is to exclude people from it. Cricket, well done, cricket. Football's like every football World Cup, there's more teams in it, and it's great. I love watching Panama play. I love watching all the teams I don't get to watch normally. And when cricket comes along, that 2007 tournament, and the reason why we don't get to see these teams is because of that 2007 tournament. And if you remember, that was the one when Bermuda were in it, and it gave us one of cricket's great moments, the Dwayne Neverrock catch, right? Kenya were in it. They had, how many teams do they have in that one? 16 teams, which isn't mental. And then 8 go into the Super 8s. That's fine. Why does it have to be 10? And the Champions Trophy is a cherry-picked tournament of 8 teams when it's very, like, being generous, 4 of the teams didn't take that tournament seriously. Australia didn't send any of their bowlers to it, for example. England aren't taking cricket seriously at the moment, but they definitely didn't take that tournament seriously. What on earth Pakistan were doing, I don't know. But South Africa didn't have most of their bowlers through injury or whatever. So the tournament wasn't taken seriously. And that was with the 8 teams that were allowed to play in it. Are you telling me that if it was opened up to the likes of, I'm not even talking about Sri Lanka and the West Indies, I'm talking about more proper teams that want to progress in cricket. If they were allowed to play in it, the tournament would have been better. It's the same for World Cup. So cricket has been doing stupid things for ages. But nobody is accountable. This is what it comes back to. The people at the top who run Indian cricket are allowed to make these decisions unilaterally, and nobody comes back. And what they say to, so what they did quite cleverly is they went, well, the next biggest threats are probably England and Australia. So we're going to give them most of the money. We're going to take half the money. Then we're going to split the rest up. We'll give most of it to Australia and England to keep them happy, so they're not going to argue with us, and the rest can fight amongst themselves for the scraps, right? And then they start doing all their own tournaments, which India start making rules that, well, you're not allowed to play in our tournament if you're doing that, and you're not allowed to play, like, all of these ludicrous rules that come out. you're not allowed to play in our tournament if this. They kind of ban certain players from playing in it. It's like cricket is such a mess, and because of basically money, it's probably going to stay a mess for as long as we're alive, and that's rubbish, isn't it?
It's just as well we're talking about the Champions Trophy. We don't even have to, if this was a longer episode, people, we're actually about to wrap this one. It's a really short and sweet one today. But if this was a longer episode, Rob and I probably would have got onto the Harry Brook furore. But that's another episode for another day. But Rob, I want to end by asking you this. There was a comment though I wanted to bring up. Production, bring up Ruben Loganathan's point, because I think we got to be balanced out here and throw out different comments here. So Ruben says, when production brings it up, I'll read it out before production might be smashing his keyboard up at me as well, to be fair. But production said, for 2025 Asia Cup, India is the host, but it will be played in Dubai because Pakistan are not going to India. I'm sure you guys have got no problem with this. Now, in fairness, Ruben, the reason I brought this up is to show people that, one, we're completely balanced and bringing up loads of different comments on this. It's not about just trying to find comments that agree with us. I haven't looked into the scheduling of the Asia Cup, Ruben, so I can't comment properly on it. But what I would say is, if all the games are being played in Dubai, or I need to. Do you know, Rob? I actually don't know the full scheduling of the Asia Cup yet.
No, I've not thought that far ahead, to be honest.
But what I would say is, if the majority of teams are playing in Dubai, then I don't see what the argument is here. And because a couple of people actually threw out to me earlier this week or last week, they were saying, but there was a competition, Champions Trophy, I think in South Africa, where South Africa played at one venue, but there was only two venues in general for the competition. So I think in a roundabout way, people, what I guess I'd like people to kind of accept is that, and this is why Rob and I started the podcast episode by saying, no one is disputing that India are a good team. The two, I'm not conflating the two things here, right? Two things can be true at the same time. India are a good team, and this competition was a bit farcical. And in questioning the farcical nature of this competition does not mean that you're questioning India being a good team. And I think some people just have that a bit confused. Like, you can believe both things at the same time. But Rob, I wanted to end with this comment. India won the Champions Trophy. I'm sure some figures and stats and facts are going to come out from the ICC saying, it was a fantastic tournament. It made this amount of money, X amount of eyes on it. Will we see another Champions Trophy, Rob?
My main take home from it was that if the ICC were trying to bury it, then they couldn't have done a better job, I think, because it was so boring for the neutral. We even managed to get a couple of rain-offs. Now, I'm not blaming the ICC for that, but it was dreadfully dull. The only games that were interesting were because of England's ineptitude. And so they've got it down to 8 teams. I think it's probably very close to the final nail in the coffin. It's a good excuse now for the ICC to bag it off. They wanted to bag it off before, but it didn't feel right because the last one was quite good. They then had a tournament off, and now they've done this one. And because it was such a farce, and I think the fact that India won it so easily means that India can be the holders of it forever. And that's another good thing for the organisers, right? India are ICC Champions Trophy champions for forevermore. The best team won it. It was dreadfully dull. And the other thing hugely going for the fact that it could be the last one is that most of the teams that played in it didn't take it seriously. Now, you could create some wonderful 11s from players that weren't playing in that Champions Trophy. And even look at the final yesterday. Now, India didn't select 3 brilliant players from their team because of lots of different factors. But, Jaiswal, Pant, Bumrah, obviously. But New Zealand yesterday, for New Zealand to compete properly against India. Now, when people asked us what we thought was going to happen in the final, as soon as New Zealand batted first, we all said they're going to score about 250 and India are going to chase them really easily, right? Everybody thought that's what was going to happen, and then it happened. Like, we knew what game we were going to watch before the game started, and that is not good for cricket. But New Zealand didn't have Trent Bolt for franchise reasons, Lockie because he's injured, and they didn't have Matt Henry yesterday. And we said before the final, the only chance New Zealand have got is if they get them 30 for 3 again, and the only way they do that is Matt Henry bowls well at the start. He didn't play. None of the teams took it particularly seriously. It's a real shame. It probably is the end of it. I wish it wasn't.
See, listen. Anyways, I'm going to leave. You know, I'm not going to comment. People, that got a lot of engagement. I want to blame. I want to blame it on Rob. But I know part of the blame is me. You know, nowadays I open my mouth and people start rage typing immediately. But listen, people, that got a lot of engagement. I'm sure some of you are watching this. Maybe you've come into the live a bit later, or you're watching this on the replay after it's been posted. But thank you for the engagement today, people. Irrespective of if you agree with us, disagree with us, etc. Thank you for posting your comments. Sorry, we'll end with this comment. Sorry, we couldn't get to everyone, but we did see loads of the comments. So thank you. Last comment of the day, because it is a super chat. Sorry, missed that, Shyam, but we got you right at the end. Rob, any time in history you remember a board wielding so much influence over the game?
Completely fair comment. And the thing that I would like to remind people is that I am the absolute first to bag off England when they do bad stuff, right? And always have been. I detest the way England have run the game. Giles Clarke is one of the most objectionable humans that has ever set foot on the earth, never mind wandered into cricket. And he did his best through trying to get into bed with all manner of nefarious characters in a pompous and arrogant manner to ruin our beautiful game. So I'm glad England aren't in charge of it, because we're useless. So yeah, fair comment, Shyam, and also you look quite hard, so I'm not going to take you on. But fair comment. England did a terrible job, but now it doesn't excuse the fact that India are doing a terrible job as well. They're just doing it in a more, I don't know. I think it's a more exclusive way than England did it, if there is a difference. But both of them are just after pound notes or dollar bills or whatever, however you want to put it. And until people start thinking fundamentally, how are we going to grow and improve the game of cricket, then we're going to be having these conversations about bureaucracy and nonsense, which has taken over the game at the expense of the sport that we all love.
And actually, do you know what, Rob? I'm going to finish with this because I love that comment you just made. We're wasting our time. Well, not wasting our time. It's very valid. But a tournament has just ended where India have shown once again why they are the champion team in cricket, right? In terms of certainly white ball cricket. And yes, we got to validate that. And yes, we've got to praise them. But we shouldn't be having to spend column inches or podcast time, airtime talking about, yeah, but why did that need to happen? And that's the issue. That's the issue for me. But anyways, people, get in the comments below. Thank you for those who commented whilst we were going live. We'll be back very, very soon. I'll look at these comments over the next few days to see how many people want me to shut my mouth. So we'll be back very soon on the Cricket8 podcast. See you all very, very soon.
Bye.
Remember to support us by subscribing and sharing, but also signing up at cricket8.com, where live scorecards cover 8,000 matches a year with advanced visual details that tell you who is actually in front in the game.